Did you know that the Allied invasion of southern France is one of the least known major operations of World War II? And I'm not talking about D-Day here, but another massive invasion carried out just 2 months later. It's time to find out more about Operation Dragoon. August 15th, 1944. The Allied forces are advancing in several directions on the Western Front. The Americans have just taken over the strategic city of Marseille in southern France. For the past 2 months, they've been fighting alongside the French resistance against the Germans who retreated after the successful Normandy landings. But the Germans have now regrouped and dug into strong defensive positions along the Loire and Garonne rivers. A direct assault would cost many lives and might even fail. So General Charles de Gaulle, the French leader, requests from his American counterpart, General George Patton, to advance through the Rhone Valley to take Lyon and subsequently push north to join the main Allied armies. However, Patton has other plans. He wants to take the German stronghold of Le Mans instead. So he sends his deputy, Lieutenant General Alexander Patch, to southern France to create a diversion, tying down as many German troops as possible while the Americans advance through central France. August 22nd, 1944. Operation Dragoon begins with the Allied landings in southern France. It was planned as a surprise attack on the Germans, who believed that the next Allied invasion would be in northern Italy. The Allied troops land unopposed and quickly establish a beachhead. By August 24th, they've advanced 30 kilometers inland and taken the cities of Cannes and Saint-Tropez. Meanwhile, the U.S. 36th and 45th Divisions are pushing north from Marseille towards Lyon. On August 26th, the Americans capture Lyon and begin their advance towards Dijon. But the Germans are putting up fierce resistance, slowing down the Allied advance. Realizing that the invasion is a success and that the Germans are unlikely to stop them, de Gaulle and the Allied High Command order the French Expeditionary Corps to advance northwards as well. On August 28, elements of the French 2nd Armored Division drive towards Paris. September 2nd, 1944. The Allied forces are now advancing on Paris from 3 different directions. The Americans from the west, the British from the northwest, and the French from the northeast. On September 4th, the Americans and the French meet up outside Dijon. 2 days later, they link up with the British near Belfort. But the Germans have been steadily retreating and have blown up all the bridges over the Saône and Rhine rivers. This means that the Allied armies are now separated and that supplies and reinforcements can no longer reach them. The Germans are also launching counterattacks, attempting to push the Allies back across the rivers. But the Allied troops hold their ground, and the Germans eventually withdraw to more defensible positions. September 18, 1944. The Allied armies are regrouped and reinforced. They are now ready to launch a new offensive. The Americans push towards Metz. The British advance through Switzerland. The French move towards Brussels. But the Germans are better prepared this time and offer stiff resistance. On September 22nd, the British reach the Eure Canal, only to be stopped by German artillery fire. The French encounter strong German defenses around Sedan. The Americans make some progress, but it soon becomes clear that they won't be able to advance much further without more troops and supplies. September 25th, 1944. The Allied leaders meet in a conference at the Hôtel de l'Europe in Paris to discuss this situation. They agree to a temporary pause in the fighting to regroup and reinforce their armies. The pause lasts until December 26th, when the fighting resumes. But the Germans have taken advantage of the break to strengthen their defenses even further. As a result, Operation Dragoon ends in failure. Although Operation Dragoon failed to achieve its goals, it was still an important operation. For one thing, it demonstrated that the Allied armies could conduct successful amphibious assaults on enemy beaches. This was important because it showed that the Allies could invade and capture other German-occupied territories, such as Italy or the Balkans. Additionally, the operation tied down a significant number of German troops in southern France. This prevented the Germans from transferring troops to other areas where they were needed more urgently. Finally, the operation caused political problems for the Germans. By invading southern France, the Allies had cut off the region's supply of food and other essential goods. This caused widespread starvation and hardship among the civilian population, which led to a lot of criticism of the German occupation regime. In fact, the people of southern France welcomed the Allied troops as liberators. Overall, Operation Dragoon was a costly but ultimately worthwhile undertaking that helped to pave the way for the Allied victory in World War II. Thanks for watching. See you next time.